If you're sick with COVID-19 or think you might have it, take steps to help protect other people from getting sick. Stay home except to get medical care. Call the doctor before visiting. Separate yourself from others who live with you. Wear a cloth face covering to protect others. Cover your coughs and sneezes with a tissue and clean your hands right away. Avoid sharing items with other people in your home. This includes things like towels and bedding. Be sure dishes are washed in hot water or the dishwasher before anyone else uses them. Stay aware of how you feel. If you start to have difficulty breathing or if you're worried about your health, call your doctor. For more tips, visit cdc.gov.
When I turned around,
you stood up for me.
Yes, you did, Lord.
You came to my defenses when I needed.
Hi, this is Xavier O'Connor. Your message of praise for today is 2 Corinthians 12, verses 9 and 10 from the New Living Translation version of the Bible. My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I'm glad to boast about my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses, and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I'm weak, then I'm strong. Get your message of praise at wjou.org. I'm Xavier O'Connor, and I am Oakwood University Radio.
Thank you.
And it is 8:36 in the Tennessee Valley. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. So we want you to come on and join us and live so you can see this beautiful, phenomenal woman here that's visiting with me today for our breakfast chat for Women's History Month as we continue to celebrate every Thursday. We're going to have another woman coming in on next Thursday. But today we have the phenomenal, amazing Dr. Laurie McCaulley. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Oh my goodness. And you're looking amazing too. I mean, just looking amazing early in the morning, you know? So listen, y'all, come on and join us on Facebook. We're going to be waiting for you as we begin our conversation and our chat with Dr. McCaulley. This is a phenomenal woman. And I say she's a phenomenal woman because she has done so many things and she does them so broadly. There's so many different things that she is doing, and she does everything so well. So she is trailblazing, and she is continuing to do work in the community that is just changing lives and helping individuals and helping women. So let's talk to this young lady who is the first African American woman to be placed in a municipal position for Huntsville City. Elected. She was elected. That's right. Let's get this. That's a huge difference, right?
Yes, it is.
She was elected. So what inspired you to become involved in public service, first of all?
First of all, it's my children.
Okay.
I got involved. Excuse me.
There you go.
I got involved in education because I seen what was happening in my children's lives and in their classrooms, and as a result of that, several of the other parents in the community kind of relied on me to tell them what was going on in the school. Mm-hmm. And so that's how it became,
Wow.
one of the missions that I've been on.
Wow. So tell us your educational background, because I don't see much of that, but I know it's. Go ahead. Let's talk about that real quick.
I have an associate degree as a paralegal.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't even know that.
Yes, yes.
I have a bachelor's in ministry. I have a master's in pastoral care. I have a doctorate in biblical leadership.
Wow. Amazing. And that in itself is inspiring, especially if you really value education, to know that you have all of these degrees. It's just phenomenal.
Thank you.
Phenomenal you are.
I did push education for my kids.
You did? Okay.
Out of this single parent home, I tell people that when you're obedient to God, He will bless your children.
Yes.
So my oldest daughter is a doctor. She's a post-cardiac internist, something like that.
Okay.
I know she treats children who have heart problems.
Oh, wow.
And my oldest son is Esau.
Wow.
He is considered, in one article, one of the top black theologians in the world. And he has 3 best-selling books out. And then my daughter, Marquita, she was the 2023 Chef of the Year for Huntsville. You know, then I have my baby boy Brandon, and he's still on his journey.
Wow. Wow. So you have 4 children.
4 children, 9 grandchildren.
9 grandchildren.
Yes.
Praise God.
Yes.
Now, you know, most people who are as successful and who have accomplished as much as you have in your life, sometimes their lives start with a challenge. Did your life start with a challenge, and that's when you really got on the path to...
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had 2 brain tumors. Wow. My first brain tumor was in 1989, and I went blind, and the doctors didn't think that I would survive that surgery. But God told me in 1990, January of 1990 actually, when I heal you, you will serve my people. And it has taken over 20-something years for me to get to where he wanted me to go. But there used to be a time when I used to have to take medicine every 8 hours to live, to keep my organs going. So God has brought it around now that I only take 1 pill a day.
Wow.
You know, and
Yeah,
so
huge.
that's just the goodness of God. That's why I tell you that song.
Wow. Yes, the goodness
God.
of, that's
The
her
goodness of
favorite
God.
song,
That's
y'all.
my favorite
We played
song,
it this morning.
CeCe Winans.
Yes.
So after that, I was not able to go back to work the way I was. So I said, well, let me get involved with my kids' life and in schools. And then I got involved, first of all, at Davis Hills PTA.
Right, yes.
And then I remember that the dues was like $2.50. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I stood up in the meeting and I said I can go to Walmart and spend their whole treasure in about 15 minutes. And I walked out the president of Davis Hills PTA. So then
Wow.
in, I think it was 1994 or 95, I can't remember which one of those years it was. But God gave me the vision of the back to school parade.
Wow.
Because I was sitting on the swing set of Rolling Hill School, and I was frustrated because I wanted to volunteer in all my children's schools.
Yeah.
But there was only one of me.
Right.
So, you know, the thought or the idea came, he said, place them all in the street where the people can see who they're advocating for. So that gave the parents in all 3 levels, because it was the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high school, an opportunity to work one day
Right.
and dedicate it to all 3 of their kids' school.
Wow, nice.
So it was an ideal to get single parents an opportunity to be involved in their children's life, because it is a unique challenge.
Yes, yes.
But one that God will equip you for if you just listen, you know, and be obedient to what He leads you through.
Right.
You know, and I went through that. I went to Alabama PTA. Eventually, I went president of Huntsville Council PTAs. Then I went to Alabama PTA. I was their president. I think it was only been 3, maybe 4 blacks in over the 175 years of its existence. And so I went to national. I told God I want to go to national. So all the time He was prepping me for the ministry.
Wow, yes.
The first speech I gave was on the national PTA stage in front of 3,000 people. Never have spoken in large. And I remember its day. It was called The Rainbow of Hope for Our Children.
That was the title of
That
your...
was the title of it.
Oh, wow.
And,
Rainbow of Hope for our children.
And so you were elected by polarity. So I was the number one, and I was been the only single parent so far that was been elected to that position. I don't think there's been another single parent elected to the Huntsville City School Board either. And I think there's a role. And that's the missing voice.
Yes,
Because there are
I
policies
agree.
and procedures that you're passing that
Yes.
affects a single parent home differently than you have a
Yes.
2-parent home. But we don't think about those things.
I agree with
You
that
know?
wholeheartedly. I mean, and I really appreciate the fact that you're focusing and did focus on that, because I was a single parent for a little while as well. And let me tell you, you feel like you're out there alone because nobody is really thinking about the needs of the single parent.
I got so stressed out one time, I put my dish rag in the freezer.
Ooh. You put it in the
I
freezer.
did, you know, and I challenge people now when they say, well, I was raised in a single parent home. I don't try to take that away from them. But I say it's a whole new level of being that
Yes.
single parent.
Yes, it is.
Trying to run that home.
Yes.
And you just being in that home.
Wow.
It's a whole
wow.
different mindset.
So that all of this, being a single parent and wanting to be involved in your children's education, was what really kind of inspired you to be
Public service.
a public servant.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
how it all started.
Yes.
In the small beginnings,
Small beginnings.
and then you continue to rise. I guess All right. I like that. Well, can you share some of the highlights? You know, when you were on the Huntsville City Board of Education, what were some of the experiences, and were you really faced with hard challenges of
Yes.
getting people to get on board with you with some of the issues that you thought they should be
Well,
focusing
I think
on?
the most memorable was when I had the opportunity to serve on behalf of the school board as their mediator to trying to come up with unitary status for the desegregation order, Sonny Herford versus the Board of Education.
Yes.
Which was actually the strange thing, but Sonny Herford was my doctor.
What?
He was then in the
At the time?
no,
not what am I saying?
I mean, well, at birth it was because
Okay.
I was born in 1961. I tell
Okay.
folks I'm proud of my
Yes,
age,
yes.
because a lot of people hadn't got to where I am.
That's
you know.
right. We're thanking God for that. Yes.
But he was the pediatrician,
Okay.
kind of like
Yeah.
family practice. But he found that in 1963.
Wow.
That, and then we still negotiating the terms. But for 18 months, I got a chance to go down and negotiate with the DOJ and with Judge Hackler. And it was a learning experience in understanding that where the black community was coming from. Because when you're sitting in a room and everybody don't look like you, and then they trying to tell you what's going on in your community.
Right.
And so you need that voice there.
Yes.
You know, and I tell people all the time, I used to say this at the end. I said, I may not be the best school board member you have in the world, but I'm the one they led at the table.
Right. Yeah, you're sitting at the table. That's
I'm sitting
right.
at the table.
Yes.
And sometimes I think the public doesn't understand that you can't always accomplish everything that you would like to do. Sometimes your role may be simple as making your community not be the steak, but the sweet tea.
Yes. Come on now.
You know, you're not the main course. Because if we can't get you off the menu, we need to make it the impact less as possible to our community. So sometimes we need to understand, you know, what was going on. Second thing, the challenge was this digital curriculum.
Yeah.
The initial thoughts was that they would start in one community and try it out and get the kinks out of, you know, and then no, I said, you know, I pushed the superintendent at that time. I said, no. I said, we're going to all grow and cry together.
Right.
Because in my mind, and from my perspective, I was concerned that if you start in one community, that my community will be the last community to receive the computers.
Right.
In the digital community. So if there was kinks, we're going to all cry together. We're going to all learn together. And that's how we got the 20,000 computers that make sure that every child in Huntsville City Schools receive one.
Wow. Wow. That's a major accomplishment. So tell me, is there anything that you still would like to work on that you wish you had accomplished back at that time when you were on the board?
Yes. I wish that we would have followed up on our relationship with Dr. Mae Jemison more.
Say more about that.
You know, she was really honored to have a school named after her. I know it was a lot of controversy over the naming of the school. But what we were trying to do at the time and what the public didn't know, all the rules and regulations that we were having to deal with. And to tell the truth, I tried to tell them, there was a time the board didn't even never want to replace the high schools in North Huntsville. They wanted to send them all. And the thought was, at the time, and I still think that, if they did not give a high school to North Huntsville, you would have killed it. Because who's going to buy a home there if the elementary school there, the middle school, then they have to get on the bus and go across town.
Right. Right.
And then, so just getting them to agree to giving you a new school was a major accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for some reason, I failed to articulate to the community that it was a win. And you could not necessarily name it the way you wanted to name it, but to give you $74 million
Yes.
to even
That's
replace
huge.
a school.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
so
My school
yeah.
replaced my school.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah,
Mine
man,
too.
I still feel some kind of way about
You know,
that, but that's okay.
You know, and so what I want people to understand is that the Huntsville City School Board, any school board, must do what's best for the students that they have in their school system at that time.
Yeah.
Not those of us like me who've gone on to do bigger and greater things. And I hope that the alumni, whatever school you attended, that you can look back and say, well, I'm going to take everything I got there and I'm going to go and make sure that community succeeds off of my shoulder.
Yes.
I'm going to leave it such a legacy that everybody going to know we were here and the impact we had when we were here.
Yes.
And they're going to embrace that from my shoulders. Now you stand.
Yes, yes,
You know,
yes.
but if
Amen.
I build this legacy and then I leave you and I don't go back and serve my community, then you have to think twice. Were you really serving yourself, or were you getting this information to pass on to the next generation?
Wow. Wow. This is a powerful, phenomenal woman we're talking to. She's just done so many amazing things for our community. I just love to hear her talk. You're also a minister, and you're also, well, first of all, let me go back and let's talk about, we talked about how you really got started with your children and wanted to be involved in their education, and you were on the board. So how does the Designing Women God's Way ministry wraps up into all of that?
That is such a well, Designing Women God's Way was first initiated as a way to help single mothers.
Okay.
Because their life journey is different. And so we would have what I call seasoned women. Don't nobody like seasoned women.
Yes, yes.
I told people don't like no blame food. We want everything seasoned.
That's right.
So we seasoned women, and we would talk on a monthly basis on what was going on in their lives.
Right. Okay.
And then the challenges that they had, and then we would go back to what the scripture said about these things. And so it was not necessarily what Reverend McCaulley was saying, but this is what the scripture is saying.
Yes, yes.
And so many times they would say, well, how did you do this? How did you manage to do all these things? And I said, by the grace of God.
Yes.
You got to learn to depend upon the Spirit, listen to the Spirit, and allow Him help you raise these children.
Right.
Because these children are different these days.
Right. Yes,
they something special.
Let's not get on that one because
they different.
Yeah, they different.
Like I said, they just different. That's all.
That's all. They just different.
You know what? People thought we were
and
different.
Exactly. That's right. Now that's the truth. Now
they thought we were different too.
That's right.
So every generation look back and say, "Oh, them right there, they're different."
Wow.
But every generation should get. The scripture tells us they'll get wiser.
Yes.
But weaker.
Yes.
So what are we doing to prep them? Because we know it's coming.
Yes.
Wow. What kind of wisdom are we giving them? Are we giving them the wisdom to know how to do conflict resolution?
Yes.
Yes. So that they don't make permanent decisions on a temporary moment.
That's right. That's right.
That is what we should be doing, talking to our youth, trying to get them to say, you just can't tell somebody, just say no. No to what?
Right,
well, what am I saying yes to?
And why?
And why? And that they tell me, just say no. Well, I just say no to what?
Right. You know what? I can't believe I'm enjoying my conversation. My time is going so fast. Okay. So let me try to keep going and get through a couple of other things, since you've done some international stuff as well. Tell us about that real quick, because we're celebrating y'all. I told y'all this woman has so much we can talk about. So let's talk about the international.
I had the opportunity to go to Cuba.
Okay.
And on a mission trip. I spent 2 weeks there. And good God, I learned so much there. When I was working, I worked with Alabama A&M, what was that? Regional Service Centers. I forgot the technical name of it. And with United Way, and they had international.
Alabama Regional. Yeah, you had it right. Service Center.
Service Center.
Yeah.
And in United Way, and they had international visitors coming.
Yeah.
And so they would call me over to talk about, because you know what they wanted to talk about?
What?
Parent involvement.
Wow. And
international.
Who better to talk to?
And so they would call me over to talk about parent involvement, and then I would share with them some things that I would do. And one of the things that I did have opportunity to do, I remember the most, is now also the parent coordinator position that Huntsville City Schools, I don't know if they still have it or not, but in the Title I, because when parents go into a parent-teacher conference, right, you have the principal or the counselor and the teacher on one side. Well, who's sitting there with their parent being an encouragement to them? And so that was one of the roles of the parent coordinator, was to be there and just in support of that parent, not necessarily interfere with what's being said, but to encourage them. And when I used to be the parent coordinator I didn't put that on it, but parent coordinator for whole District 1. Yeah. Before I got on the board, I was parent coordinator for the whole District 1.
Is this something that you created?
No, I
So where
did
did
not.
this
did
idea
not.
come from?
It's a federal thing.
Okay, that must have been something after my time because I
No,
never knew about
it used to be
that one.
part of the No Child Left Behind bill.
Oh, okay,
And
okay,
then, but see,
gotcha.
some
that's gone away
some
now.
areas it never trickled down. And I happened to be in a conference at a PTA conference
Yeah.
when I heard about this,
Yes.
and I said, "What's this?" You know.
Yes.
And so what they also do, and what we did, and we paired with Sacramento Development at the time, and we taught parents how to walk through a school, and you can just look at it and tell if it's children friendly
Wow.
without even speaking to anybody.
Really?
And we used to do those tools. We did those classes. We did classes on how you have a successful parent-teacher conference.
Wow.
And what question do you really need to ask? Because there's one question, and I ain't going to tell what it is because then they won't come to my workshop. But the first question everybody always asks is, how's my child doing? And that is not what you need to ask.
Okay.
But I ain't going to tell you.
You're not gonna tell me
no,
what?
you got to come to my class.
Come on now. Okay. You don't ask how my child is doing. Okay?
No,
if
that's
I
not
get it
the
right,
most
will you-
important thing. It's
Right,
not the
right.
most
You can
important
ask.
thing.
Yeah, I got you. So
Yes.
that's not the most important question. The most important
Well, let me
question
say it
is
this
how
way.
can I support my child at home?
No.
No,
No.
okay.
No. It would lead into that.
Okay.
But
It's not what I. It's not. Is it a
No.
question focused on back on the parent though?
no.
Is it not? Okay.
No, not
okay.
really. Because
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a little glimpse because
Yeah,
I don't have a
yeah, I
workshop.
know.
I don't
We're
have
gonna
a
talk about the
yeah.
workshop really quick
Yeah.
because we
no,
want
because I
people
don't
to
have
know.
one coming in the next 6 months. So
Okay,
I'm all
okay,
right.
okay.
But first thing you want to know, you ask the teacher.
Okay.
How does my child learn?
Ooh.
Because if they know, that tells you that they know your child.
Exactly.
And secondly, you can
That
take your
is
child
it.
learning style and start modeling your parenting after how your child learns.
I agree.
Now, if your child have ADHD and they see something and the butterfly fly across the window and they forgot, well, now you learn then, well, I can't give them 3 and 4 orders at one time.
Right.
I need to say, you go do this and this and come back to me.
Right.
Do this and this and come back to me. Instead of say, didn't I tell you to clean the room, take this up,
Right.
Well, you know that your child is not capable of fulfilling all those functions at that time.
Yes,
So
yes.
you need to know how your child learns. And it tells you if the school system even knows your child.
Wow. That is so on point right there. That says a lot. You do know what you're talking about when it comes to children. Who better to talk to about when it comes to education and everything? We do have some comments on here. We have, let's see what we got on Facebook and YouTube. But we're running out of time because I've got so into this conversation that I just kind of lost track of time because it's such an amazing information that she's sharing. And so we have Ingrid Phillips saying, I'm so inspired. Some people don't understand the power of one person who has a passion for their community. Start where you are. Yes, I think she's right on point right there with that. You're also a minister. You're an ordained minister.
Yes, licensed and ordained.
Licensed and ordained at Cumberland Presbyterian Church
In America.
In America. And do you also focus your messages on children and parenting and
Yes, and black women.
And
the
black
women in the
yes.
Bible.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot about that.
Oh, wow. I'm telling you, she's so multifaceted. She's a fundraiser. We've talked about her being a servant leader. She's been an educator. She is and been honored as well.
Yes.
Go ahead. What were you about to say?
I was going to tell you that with the Cumberland Presbyterian Church in America,
Yeah.
I am one of their coordinators for their School of Continuing Education.
Look at it. Yes.
So I teach the people who are entering the ministry. You know, there's courses that we have to take that our denomination requires. So I'm the lead instructor for that.
Wow. I mean, just so much. It's just hard to keep up with everything. I mean, to know that you've done so much. What do you think? What has really encouraged you and kept you on the energy level you need to be at to keep on going and keep on accomplishing and keep on fighting to do the things that God has put on your heart to do?
Well, what keeps me going is when I run into, I'm going to say this one short story. I ran into a guy who was at the Dollar General, and he was working, and I did not recognize him at all. And he says, when I was laughing at him, he said, "Oh, you Miss McCaulley?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "You don't remember me?" I said, "I really don't." And he said, "They were going to throw me out of school, and somebody told my grandmother to call you
Wow.
And he said he was at Columbia. He said, and I was not even in your district.
Wow.
And you came over and sat with my grandmother and worked out a plan. And so I graduated.
Wow.
And he says, I'm able to take care of my kids.
Wow.
And then they blessed me. And when I run across them, and one told me that he had been expelled, and he's in med school now. And he thanked me for going to bat for him.
Wow.
See, it's stories like that to keep you going.
Yeah.
Just when you think that your life don't make a difference, God sends that little ram in the bush
Yes.
to remind you that
Yes.
he sees you.
Absolutely.
And he knows where you are. And he knows that, hey, I need to go send her a little
Yeah.
love note.
Right,
to let her know
exactly. Yes.
that, good job,
Wow. So looking ahead, though, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future of Huntsville and the broader community, particularly in terms of education, equity, and social justice? What do you got? What do you got coming up? And
I'm not telling.
Ooh, come on now. What you focusing on? Anything? In general.
In general, I do have plans. I do have
Okay.
plans.
Okay.
I'm not saying what they are yet.
Okay.
But I do have plans.
And we know
They'll
it's going to be some great
it'll be in a
things.
couple of months, and they'll see where I'm headed.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I do have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you.
For visiting with us for Women's History Month from
Thank you.
WJOU. As we celebrate, we're going to be celebrating every Thursday. Everybody on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for joining us and being a part of the conversation today as we celebrated this amazing Dr. Laurie Bone McCaulley for all of the work that she has done for Women's History Month.
Oh, let me do a shout out to my daddy.
Okay, go ahead.
The Reverend Theodore Bone, I told my daddy I was going to do a shout out for it.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, shout out to my daddy, Pastor Reverend Theodore Bone.
Oh.
Hey, he's
All right.
86.
Oh, 86.
Yes.
All right. Well, I was about to say happy birthday, but
No,
I'm going to say that every day is a birthday. Happy
Yes.
birthday. Well, thank you so much all for listening, and join us next week on Thursday. We'll have another phenomenal woman that we'll be celebrating. Right now, we are going to get back to some music here on 90.1 FM WJOU.
WJOU Huntsville, 90.1 FM, a broadcast service of Oakwood University.
Well, yes, it's true that I've been told that God can do all things. I even heard the saints of old testify.